This is late. It's almost midnight. I've never done a video this late. So we're gonna do this. I have a semi-new brand consultant, and she put this goal for me to do a 30-minute video or talk for 30 minutes around this question. It's like the whole point of everything that I do, which is touch and human connection. And why does it even matter? Why is it important? And I have hopefully a big future ahead for me, where I get to talk more about this in a more public and open space. But for now, you're my guinea pig, so I get to talk to you about it and see if I can do 30 minutes. All right, here it goes. So I have some notes on the side here. There's many different sides to why touch and human connection is important, and the first one is just the basic one, which is this is how we were created. Like, this is part of our makeup, our biological and genetic makeup, looking to like the basic part of like who we are as human beings, that we were created for connection. We were created to be together, and then these bodies that we have, they are super important for that connection. You know, from the moment that an infant is born, or even just the development of the fetus inside the womb, and then, you know, that connection, that touch, that closeness, all of that is intentional, or else we would have laid eggs, right? And laid on eggs and, you know, had a different type of connection. But this is not how our biology is or created. We're created to, I mean, just from the, like, I've had 4 children, so yes, I know this experience of like holding a human being within me and them having this immersive touch experience, and then to be birthed. And they talked about something about the 4th trimester, which is those 3 months after an infant is born, where it's as if we're creating an environment as if they were inside the womb. So again, biologically, we know for our survival, we need touch. Without touch, that infant will die. Without touch, there's a part of us, even into adulthood, where we begin to like atrophy. There's an emotional and I would even say a health atrophy that happens, where I meet clients and they come to me and they haven't been touched in months, sometimes years, and there's this like there's a deadness inside their bodies. And for me to bring that life back in, you know, and it's not really me, it's just this experience of touch where that life can be birthed back in them, or that is the power of something as simple as just putting a hand on someone's shoulder and being like I'm here. It's this, again, biological sense of like from the womb, from those first 3 months of our existence on this planet, we know that, like, we intrinsically know that this is where we belong. We belong in connection, and we belong with touch and touching each other. So yeah, as they say, no man is an island. I would agree. It's often, though, in our modern society, what happens is that we've created a culture where we don't think we need it. Like, we're good, we're resilient, and we're the pioneers, and we go out there and we like forage the land, and we know exactly how to, you know, move forward and create new things, and it's easy for us to be like, you know, emotions and connection and humans and all of the sticky stuff of like our lives. Those are things that we think they get in the way. And so it's easy for us just to numb that and be like, okay, eliminating it, not gonna do it, not wanting to have that depth of connection, that depth of feelings, because it is uncomfortable. So we cut it off. And often people don't realize is that when we choose to cut off, let's say the ickiness of like sadness or the ickiness of fear, you cut off everything. Like, you can't just like decide, okay, I just don't want to be sad anymore. I'm going to be, you know, I don't want sadness. So then what you also do is you no longer are happy, right? There's no longer joy. That's not how emotions work. Emotions are a full package deal. So either you feel them all or you don't feel any. And a lot of people are walking around with numbness. And it is with going back to like the beginning, you know, the essential need for, like, the need for survival, the need for touch, to interlink touch and survival are extremely important, and they're together. So going back to that place where we would cry when we were infant, right? When we didn't have our needs met, where we would express all the emotions of sadness and fear and anger. And of course, in an infant, it comes out, could potentially look the same, but there are differences with infants if you watch them. And as we get older, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, these still come forward, and either we're accepted in that fullness of expression or we're not by our parentals or by people that surround us, and that can lay out the foundation for the rest of our life, where it's like, I don't trust anymore. I don't trust other people. I don't want people to touch me. So I've had clients or I have one in particular I can remember that from very, very young had a break with their maternal and paternal biological parents, and then were adopted. And because that broke, there was this long-term effect around touch. They could not experience touch or receive it because that safety wasn't there, that connection with their biological parents. All right, so again, I have 30 minutes. Those of you who are still watching, thank you so much. Okay, minute 6. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I'm just on the first few points. So going back to the original idea, like, we are created for touch. We are from infancy, from womb. This has been part, again, our biology, our skin, our touch, our bodies. And as we get bigger, it gets more complicated because we change. Because people are uncomfortable. It gets different, weird, depending on what your gender is, depending on your development. There's again an idea of like, if your touch and your human connection come with lots of emotions and feelings and the messiness of life, people often push people like that away because, a lot of people are living in this disconnection and they don't have access to those feelings. So we push people away that have a lot of feelings, and the rest of us, so then if we feel like we can't be accepted in our feelings and in our experience, then we end up numbing that, just again for survival. So we got into this modern society where we're all numb, we're all walking around, we all don't really care about each other, we cut each other off in traffic, we don't have this connection, but there's still the sense of loss around, like, wait a second, but I need touch. And so then what do we do when we hit puberty? What happens next? Well, the body says, hey, we're created for the next level of touch, which is sexual touch. Ooh, all right, and it's easy to slip into that because biologically that's what our body does. And we lose sense and track of that original nurturing, affectionate, caring, loving, present touch that was just home. And we move into this next level where it's like exciting and thrilling, and we train our bodies to respond to touch in that thrill. And that's fun, it's exciting. There's new sensations, and that, for most people, that ends up being the trajectory that they take, and then they keep with that until, from what I've seen, until later in age, like 50, 60, 70 years old, and when things shift again, and just depending again on people's experience, the original touch, present, loving, caring, affectionate, can come back later in life, or at some other point. Kitty. Hi, kitty. Let's see if the kitty will say hi. Hi. So this need, or if it's someone who has had a child, that need for, the parent who has just delivered a baby will often need this, like, can I be babied as well, right? So the need for touch comes in different stages, different people's lives, just depending on what's happening. And because we are uncomfortable with touch that's not sexual, right? Like anything that's not sexual, it's hard to ask for because we don't know if people are comfortable giving that, sharing that with us. I mean, honestly, I think when I had my 4 children, it would have been very difficult for me to have asked someone, hey, can you hold me? Like, baby's asleep, can you hold me, cradle me, and rock me? As much as I would have loved that, that's weird, because who does that? We don't, can you swaddle me and just nurture that part of me that I went through this incredibly difficult experience? So why there's this barrier to doing this And in my sessions, as well as between friends, and in all the ways in which platonic touch would be possible in our society, the reason it's difficult, not only is it because we've basically evolutionarily like took it out of our existence, right, in our modern society, but also because it is a method of creating some pretty deep intimacy. It's quick and it's deep. And if we don't have that safety and the trust that we can, with each other, it's not something that's welcome. I don't want someone holding me that I don't trust, that I don't feel safe with, that hasn't done the work to make that possible for me. And so I have to agree. Like, at some level, this is where consent comes into play. I don't think anyone should ever receive touch from someone that they don't feel safe with. It will create the counter. The benefits actually will go against you, not for what you're hoping to experience. So because touch can be very intimate and it has this vulnerability, it can be a thing that people don't want. I think about the clients that come and see me, they often have a spouse or have someone else in their life that it's expected that they get that kind of, that level of intimacy only with their spouse. And how difficult that is when that spouse and them aren't really connecting in that way, or the spouse either doesn't want it, or it's just not happening, or like, again, there's a million obstacles as to why that doesn't happen in long-term relationships. And so they come to me and there's a struggle with, like, is it okay that I have this intimacy outside of my marriage or my relationship? And often I see my work as triage. Like, it's like, okay, how long have you been living without this essential need of care and affection and touch? And I mean, again, for most of them, it's like it's been years since I've had someone actually with care, and I don't expect them to come and see me forever. Like, all right, just providing that initial, like, okay, you're good, you're okay, and then go, like, send you back home and be all right. Like, you can find yourself in touch. I'm gonna get to that in a second as we continue moving forward. I'm going to pause here and talk about the intimacy and vulnerability that happens, and what are the benefits or what are the consequences of having this level of intimacy and vulnerability. And that would be the ability to grow, to change, to see things in a new way that maybe people haven't been able to see before, maybe you haven't been able to see before. And while I believe truly that a licensed counselor or licensed social worker, they do amazing work with just holding space for people and sharing and talking about their stuff, and I encourage my clients to go see a counselor. If the deep stuff from, like, the past shows up in a session, I will say that oftentimes in a session, the stuff that hasn't been able to be said, like the things that, like, they'll often tell me, I haven't been able to tell anybody this, or I haven't been able to tell my counselor this. Something about touch makes it possible for people to speak and say things that they haven't been able to tell anybody. And I think it has to do with, again, creating a safe container that makes, there's some things that are just implicit in having a session. The safe container, being able to connect with, like, making that connection, creating that safety, making so safety then leads to trust, right? Having that next level of trust. And then that trust then makes it totally cool to then go into, like, I think I can tell you something that I haven't told anybody. And most of us have these secrets where we are truly wanting to share with someone. Like, I don't want to live with this anymore. The burden of carrying this, the burden of, like, never saying it, but, like, always looking for someone, like, who do I tell? Who do I tell? Do I go to you? Do I do you? And, like, no, I can't trust you. You don't feel safe. So having this container that I can create where people can do that is amazing. It's worthwhile for them. And then, they'll tell me, like, I haven't told anybody this, or my counselor, and I encourage them to, like, now that you've said it, do you have, like, it has something shifted in you that you can go and tell? Because ultimately, like, there's certain spaces that, like, they can walk you through the steps to, like, work through things that maybe I might not be trained or can do for you. So, yeah. I often wonder, like, what is it? Is it me? Is it the touch? Is it the space that I create, the container? I don't think that all people that do the work that I do hold a container the same way that I do. Maybe they hold it, differently for different types of people. Maybe if someone wouldn't want to share with me, they would want to share with someone else. It just, again, it's finding the right person that fits you, and not so much the person that's doing it right. I have my way, and I love my way, actually. I think I did a great job, but I'm not for everybody, and I may not be able to hold that for everyone. So then going back to like original idea that I mentioned about, hello, I have a hello. Hi, PFB99. About this primal connection, this idea that we long for each other. We long to be in community, we long for connection, we long for depth, we long to be seen, to be known, to be heard. Like, those things are like human, all of us at some level. And at some point, usually in like our early life, childhood, at some point that got disrupted, and we just close and think, okay, I won't be able to ever have this with anybody else. And that includes touch. So it's in reintroducing touch. If that's what you're looking for, like, you may go, yeah, I just want to be cuddled. I miss my relationship and I don't have one, or whatever it is. I just want this touch thing. And you may think this, maybe not certainly naively, but just like, yeah, this would be great. I want to try this out, and not knowing that, oh shit, like, this is deeper than I would have ever thought. Like, I often hear that, like, I came with one expectation and then walked away and was like, this is much bigger than even that I thought that I could even experience. So what happens, I'll talk a little bit physiologically, with the nervous system especially. So something happens physically when someone experiences the kind of touch, again, that's safe and that there's trust. Things slow down. Everything slows down. I mean, but I imagine just like if someone, and I had someone a couple days ago just kind of touch my shoulder, and I noticed it provided this like focus, and my mind stopped running, and I just paid attention to this touch experience, and nothing mattered in that moment except for just this light touch that they offered me. And I felt like my breathing changed, and was really present with myself and with that person. And so when we look at the nervous system, there's the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is that part of us that, like, when it's very active, right? Like when I need to move into action, the fight or flight, like something needs to happen right now, we need that sympathetic to like act. The parasympathetic is the part where like our breathing slows down. We can do it actively. We can like breathe deeply, or we can meditate, just like slowing our system down. So with a kind of touch, like let's say cuddling or just intentional touch that's slow, it will slow our nervous system down. It can be almost as if you're in a meditative state, completely relaxed and connected, and it doesn't need to be about the person giving the touch. I mean, when I received that touch, it was about me with me, and I was experiencing it in my body, and it really was semi-irrelevant who the person was. Like, it helped me connect in me, and I just melted. Something as simple as just a touch on my shoulder could melt me and help me breathe better, and help just, there's so much tension that we carry, like in our shoulders and in our bodies, that the moment that touch happened, I could just sense my body just stopped having to carry itself in ways that I didn't even realize I was doing that. All the muscles, and part of me just kind of wanted to lean into them and be like, can I just lean into you and have you just hold me just for this little bit, even if it's just a minute or two. It's just lovely. So it does something, we hear often, like the nervous system, like if you could just meditate and do yoga, mindfulness, something really interesting that how touch can do that for us. Touch can actually do all of that. And it doesn't have to feel like work. Often, we're told like you need to meditate every day or you need to do yoga, like that's work. That's work for me. I don't know about you. That's work for me. Mindfulness, just kind of be present in the moment. It's beautiful how touch can just instantaneously do that. And it's effortless. If we're open, if we feel safe, if we trust the person that we're experiencing it with, it can instantaneously just give us this thing that we need. Did you know that our skin is an organ? And it is the largest organ in the body, and it communicates so much to us. It gives us a lot of information about what's happening around us. We have that sixth sense, we can sense things when people are close or far away. We can tell when people are like looking at us. There's a lot that the body is giving us information around. And like I've had people touch me and I'm like, oh no, don't touch me. Like it's energetic. And I think that that's part of when we experience touch in this way, we awaken these abilities to connect with our body, connect with another, get clear around our boundaries, get clear around what feels good for us, what doesn't feel good. Especially sharing with somebody else, like, don't touch me. Like, I'm not okay with you touching me. But it's important that we're listening, and then again, awakening that touch with someone who feels safe and that is trustworthy of it can give us those additional abilities that I think a lot of us have lost. And in consequence to that, like we often then say no to all touch because it doesn't feel safe. No, we don't have that perception. We've lost that connection with our body, so it's easy just to be like, okay, no one touch me, right? Creates this huge wall around us. Just because that way, like we don't even have to think about boundaries with specific people or specific situations, but in connecting with ourselves and touch and each other, we get a better idea of like what's okay and what's not okay. And hopefully, again, because you've created a safe container with a specific person or people where you feel safe and have trust, you then have clarity with other people who maybe there isn't as much safety and trust to tell them, no, I don't want your touch. I once touched a friend. We were in a meeting. They were sharing some really deep stuff, and I neglected to ask, and I just like wanted to like comfort. And it was really neat. He said to me, he's like, don't touch me. And I was like, absolutely, like, thank you. I said thank you and like under my breath because I didn't want to interrupt. And in that moment, it was such a great example of like, we're friends, and I didn't know that I didn't ask, so that was on me. It was my area of growth, and at the same time, they felt safe enough to tell me like, don't do that. And it was a gift. It was a gift for me to be like, absolutely, like, thank you for taking care of yourself. Which again, when someone says no to us, that's really what it means. It's that that's where they're at in that moment, and we can respect that. Good evening. Good day. Good 31st of May. Yay. Continuing, I have another 6.5 minutes. Here it goes. So because with engaging with touch, first of all, with having people touch us that we feel safe and we trust, again, that's super important. Touch that's wanted from these same people gives us a lot of great information on what's okay, what's not okay with these people. It then translates into like the rest of our life. And touch can create this mindful in the moment here now situation, which I talked about previously, but it also, it gives us this, it opens up the possibilities of like of life. And so who are you? Who are you? What did it mean that I really liked to touch that was on my shoulder? Like, I need to be comforted sometimes. It's simple. I'm a simple person. Not really. But I mean, in that moment, it's like it slowed everything down and it brought me into this, like in the present moment, and what is it that I want? And I was like, I would love to have a massage right now. And that brought some clarity. And like, that kind of touch is something that I want more of. And now I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't realize it until I got that touch. And I'm like, okay, this is who I am, and this is what I want. So then I can take this singular experience and then translate that to the rest of my life and into my relationships. So not only does touch bring us into this present moment, and that pushes us into like, what do I want? What are the possibilities? And often I'll have a client who will come in and just has this kind of a darkness, this cloudiness about them. They're just like turned off. And with the touch, what I've noticed is that it starts to lift. There's this like, life was complicated before. Life was difficult. There was, sadness, and while that sadness may still remain, there's this like new idea of like clarity of like, wait, so maybe life is more complicated than it's not as complicated as I thought. Maybe all I just really needed was a really big hug for a really long time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And it brings people back into themselves and into their bodies and provides the clarity. The cloud lifts, the darkness goes away. And like, I just feel really good. Like, that's it. That's all I kind of needed. And it opens up again the possibilities as to, okay, now that I got that shit out, like, clear, clear, clear. Now what do I want? And that's the beautiful question. I have a question coming in. I will answer it. How long are the sessions on average? My minimum is usually 60 minutes, and it goes up to, this past week, was it last Friday, I did a 11.5-hour session. At some point, my eyes are like, me. Sessions can be what people want to make of them. And what's the beauty of it is you get to decide, like, we can go out to lunch. I had like this one client, a really long one. I've had lunch with them as well. Like, it's about this connection, and it's touch, but it's also like the richness of, again, being seen, sometimes for the first time, being heard, being understood, having someone just present, and again, having that mirror back and reflected where someone then can go, I matter, right? Ultimately, that's where it comes down to. Like, I matter as a person, as a human. It brings our humanity back into us. And then once we can see ourselves as like human, and I'm pretty amazing. Most everybody I ever meet is like, you're amazing. Then that gives them possibilities around, I've forgotten who I am. I've forgotten that, all these great things about myself. Next question, is the session at your place or my place or a neutral location? The sessions are wherever anybody wants them. I have a place here that is super convenient for me, that it's a studio that I've created out of my garage that's been converted. And some people, again, when it's about safety and trust, some people feel like, their place is more appropriate for what they're looking for. And I'm great with that. I've had people meet me in a park. I've had people meet me in hotels. It's where people are at, and it's about, again, what feels good. And I have like 1 minute left, and what else do I want to say? I didn't make it to. I'll keep you all on. I have 1 minute till my 30 minutes. What do we want to talk about? I don't know. What side of town? So I did move. I was near the airport before, and now I'm near downtown. So if those of you in San Antonio, I am just southeast of downtown, like kitty corner from, if you're familiar with like King William. So I'm on the near southeast side, just off of 90 and 37, or 90, 10, 37. So, touch, human connection. Have you ever seen yourself visiting New Jersey? I visited New York. New Jersey just feels like, I don't know why, from like Manhattan, like New Jersey feels like so far away. I don't know how everybody travels up over there, but I'd love to go to New Jersey. I love to travel anywhere. Any more questions? I know that, again, I have some of y'all in here, and I've made my 30 minutes, yay! My brand coach, my brand consultant can now receive this and watch my video. So I just kind of like talked off the cuff, and hopefully we'll be doing more professional speaking engagements around this topic. So I'm just practicing. Those of you are like, what is she doing, talking so long? Any other questions for me about anything? What am I doing? This is my assignment, and I really wanted to accomplish this assignment today. This weekend is booked, and that's partially because I have 2 of my kiddos are turning birthdays, so the sessions that I had available, they're taken, and then the rest of the time I'm celebrating my kiddos' birthdays. But next weekend, I have time next weekend, so contact me next if that works for you. And this is more right now questions. It'd be kind of fun just to have like a Q&A. Yeah, next weekend for sure. I am totally open. Send me email, go to my website, find some way to communicate. There's a million ways. Text me. My number's in the comments somewhere. Not this one, but in other videos, comments I haven't posted in the description yet. I could just sit here and watch all of you, not watch me, or watch all of you, kind of watch me. Thank you, generically speaking, for your comment. Yeah. I have a video I want to make soon that talks about, so I did 2 process of approval sessions for people that want to become a cuddlist and be certified. Am I online every night? I wish I had things to talk about every night. If I have something to talk about, I'll be on it every night, but now there's a new video coming about these approval sessions, and what I'm seeing with people that are starting the work, the piece that I think they're missing is this human connection. It's this, like, man, I get to play today being a client, and I'm like hardcore. I bring out all the stops. I mean, I'm intense. I become like the practitioner's worst nightmare. Pushing all the buttons, like all the things that those, pesky clients that push my buttons. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Like I even show up in the session wearing like booty shorts, and they have to tell me like, hey, your clothes are out of code. I'm like, oh really? So that's fun. One of the things I noticed, is it possibly trained as a, yep, all genders are welcome to do this work. So if you qualify, if you are the kind of person that qualifies the kind of thing we're looking for, great. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the piece I think is missing is, truly showing up for people and treating them as human beings. The people that I spoke to today that were, again, wanting to be certified, that was a piece that they were missing, was this very human, very basic, like, if we're doing a screening call, I would love to hear you ask me, how are you? Like somehow we've lost this, hey. Now, I'll be honest with you, if you message me and you text me and you say, how are you? I'm just going to be like, who are you? Like, how am I? I don't even know who you are. There hasn't been a connection established. There's no, like, I don't feel safe answering that question. I don't feel comfortable. Like, I'm not going to answer somebody's random, like, how are you? Because when I answer that question, it's authentic and genuine. So when someone's, I'm wanting a session with you, and you walk right into, so anyway, I'll make a video about it, because it's just like, with how connected we are online and internet and all of those things, it's, and it is, it makes sense, but it's kind of like somewhat baffling, like, wow, we don't know how to talk to each other and to create that safety, that trust that's so needed, so that touch can happen. I think I'm done, y'all. Time for bed. For those of you on the Pacific Coast, yeah, it's kind of early for you. For those of us on the East Coast and Central Time Zone, go to sleep. Time to go to sleep, y'all. All right, bye. Thanks for